Hello and welcome to another video on this channel. Today we are doing something different. We are talking about the Nintendo Switch. Let's look back at its life, what it has been, because it's not done yet, but we are quite certain that the new Nintendo Switch will be releasing this year in 2025, and we will know about it before March of 2025. So 2 months, in less than 2 months, we'll know about the system. Probably this year it will release. So let's look back at one of Nintendo's most successful systems ever. See what it has accomplished, see what I think of it. Just appreciate its existence because wow, what a lifetime, huh? Okay, let's talk about it. This is it. This is the original system. This is a launch model of the Switch, and yeah, what is it? It's just a little handheld device, a tablet gaming system. And nowadays, this is very common. We see a lot of companies making these types of systems. Think about the Steam Deck, but I believe Lenovo has done something like it, and it's not that revolutionary anymore. But at the time, there was not a thing like this. You had dedicated handheld systems like the DS, the 3DS, but also the PSP and the PS Vita. And you had dedicated home consoles like PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo, of course, with the Wii U, which was not successful at all. But now they combined their two markets into one system, and it really paid off. You can see that with the games. The game library is enormous. It's great because both the handheld teams and the dedicated console teams work on this system. And overall, it's just great. At the time, the Switch has never been a powerhouse, but at the time, it was good for what it did. Now it's running into some problems with the newer gen being here. But yeah, it still does its job fine, especially in Nintendo games. Nintendo knows how to optimize their games. They are all running greatly on the system. They look amazing. Of course, third-party games. When the developers decide to put some effort into it, they will run as well. Sometimes not. Look at Pokemon. Of course, the Switch is not an amazing console, but with some time and effort, you can make some games that run amazingly on it. So let's take a look at what this thing is. It's just a tablet, and on the back you have the kickstand, because Nintendo marketed it with 3 modes. So you have handheld mode, which is this mode. Just play it like this with the Joy-Con. And you have tabletop mode, which if you use the kickstand like this, just a very flimsy little thing. It feels flimsy. The micro USB is down there. This thing can break easily, but it's meant to. You can pop it off, you can pop it on. Yeah, then you just place it down like this. You take the Joy-Con off, and then you can play tabletop mode. They also marketed it with multiplayer, so one set of Joy-Con is 2 controllers because they have these buttons. But we'll talk more about the Joy-Con in a second. And of course you have, they worked with game cards again. So they did this on all their handheld systems. Small little tiny game cards that hold everything you need for the games. Mostly if it's first party. If it's second party, then if you buy a physical copy you still get some downloads. But yeah, this is the entire system. This is all the power. Even when you put it in the dock, which we will talk about soon as well, this does all the work. And that's crazy to me. But size-wise, it's fine. The screen is nowadays not that good anymore. It's just 720p. And you have these big bezels, which they later fixed with the OLED model, of course. But the screen is still good. 720p might sound low. But when we think nowadays of 720p, we think about 720p displayed on a higher resolution screen, which always looks muddy. Doesn't look too good. But when you have a dedicated 720p screen, it doesn't have to upscale those pixels to fit your 4K screen or whatever. So it looks a bit nicer on the screen itself. Of course, it's still 720p, you will notice it, but it does the job well. And I think this is an amazing piece of hardware. Yeah. But then we get to the controllers. These are the controllers that every Switch comes with. You pop them on, the Joy-Con of course they are called. And these are great pieces of technology. First off, they are a full set of controllers. They fit to the sides, you have all the buttons you need, and they're quite well on the hand, if I do say so myself. I have, you might notice, not too crazy big hands, so I don't think these are too small. I think they are fine. Of course, there are some things like the joysticks don't travel too far, especially when you hold them sideways. This Joy-Con is a bit awkward because these buttons are very much to the side, so you have... Your instinct is just to hold it like this, but then the joystick is there. That's fine, of course, but then the buttons are all the way over here, and it's just not ideal, but it will get the job done, especially for this. They brought some accessories with it. So this is the Joy-Con grip. It's just a piece of plastic. It does nothing. These are mirrors that reflect the light of the Joy-Con, so you can see what player you are. You can slide them in like this, and you'll get still the very satisfying click sound, of course. And it does the job fine. It feels nice in the hand, for me at least. I would say that this is fine. This does the job, and especially since the price point of later controllers is so high, not later controllers, but other controllers like the Pro controller is so high, I would say that in the basis, you didn't need to upgrade. This did the job fine. They really managed to make a controller that is also a evolution of the Wiimote, because it has motion. It functions like a Wiimote and nunchuck. But of course, there's no sensor bar connectivity to the Switch, so it will get desynced. You have this sensor right here, which is a bit weird because in concept, okay, fine, but only like 11 games used this thing of the tens of thousands of games that have it, and 150 million Switches have been sold at this moment, and they all have this, so this just kept ramping up the price for no reason actually, but hey, it's fun. It doesn't need to be on the next Switch, but it's fun. But these controllers also have some issues. Let's talk about it. First, of course, the most prominent issue, the joysticks. They are drifting. A lot of people, well, almost everyone I know that has a Switch has problems with these things. They will just start drifting, and it's annoying, and you cannot do really anything about it. I don't get why Nintendo never changed the design. They have had so many lawsuits on their neck about these sticks, but they just accepted the truth and went on with it, and yeah, that I don't get it. But luckily this is fixable, at least for me. I have 2 pair of Joy-Con, so 4 Joy-Con in total. They have all drifted, all of them. But if you use contact spray, you spray a little bit under that rubber flap you see there. If you do that a little bit, and then you rub it in like this, and then after like 30 minutes, it's gone. I haven't had drift on my Joy-Con for 2 years now. The contact spray really works. So that's nice because I mostly play in handheld mode. So that having fixed that is amazing. But the Joy-Con, those aren't all the problems. The Switch also came with these beautiful Joy-Con straps, which you could put on. Then you have some grip for when you're using motion controls, and it made these buttons a lot larger and nicer to hit. And that's where the second problem comes in. This is a first generation set of Joy-Con, and especially this one, but both, and all of my Joy-Con, but especially the old left Joy-Con, had some weird, annoying connection issues. When you're just slightly too far away or cover it a bit too much, the connection is gone. And it's so annoying, and I hate it, and I don't know why it keeps happening. Just the connector in this thing is not good enough. I remember a member of the community screwed it open, put a box of foam in there, connective foam or something, I don't know what it's called, I'm not an expert on this, and that fixed the issue. I believe Nintendo did that as well in their later revisions, but it's still kind of a problem. I've never had the controllers really function well. So that's another issue, an issue why you just don't want to keep using these. It does the job, but you would rather have 2 fully functional controllers, especially if you play games that only support the full controllers. But this is fine. In the basis, this is fine. Until you encounter the next problem, which the Switch has. As you can see, when you press this, it works, the lights go on. But a lot of Joy-Con, 3 of mine, and also a lot of my friends' Joy-Con, have problems with the side rail. So after using the controller for a while, this part just stops working. As you can see, no lights go on. These buttons don't do anything anymore. The sync button doesn't do anything. This whole string of buttons, dead. How does it work? I repaired one. It's not a fun job, but... so what's the issue here is the connector that's inside has a long cable. And of course, its Joy-Con are very small. So the battery is in here. And the cable actually folds over the battery, a double fold, to go back into the motherboard. So when you press these buttons a lot, you will actually press down on that cable every time you press the button. And eventually they will just have a little crack and don't work anymore. So 3 of my Joy-Con had this. I fixed one. And why don't I fix the others? Well, I kind of messed up with the screws here, and I cannot ever open these again without using hard measures, and I don't want to break the shell and everything. So I'm not doing it. I'm not going to repair them anymore. I'm just not able to play like this anymore. Not the biggest deal, but still annoying. So that's just why the Joy-Con are not really future-proof controllers. So I really like the concept of them. Especially, I use them, of course, a lot in handheld mode. You can slide them on really satisfyingly. But like this, they are fine as long as they don't drift. As I said, contact spray does the job. But everything else, yeah, not really good. And that's where the Pro controller comes in. So this thing is like $70. But it's an amazing controller, I cannot lie. It lies great into the hand. The buttons are big, the joysticks have a lot of precision. The buttons are mushy, big, amazing trigger buttons. Of course, they made this shiny so it gets all dirty. But that doesn't matter, it's an amazing controller. Sadly, it's so expensive. I wouldn't have bought it probably if these suckers would keep working. But they don't, so yeah, what can I say? They really packed in all the features of the Joy-Con into this device. So the NFC tag for the amiibo, the HD rumble, which we haven't even talked about, but it's amazing. I really like it. Just it makes games so much more immersive. In the past, if you go back to old consoles and you play with rumble, it's just loud, hard rumble, which is cool, but I really like this, especially in Mario Kart or something like that. It doesn't really add a new... It just adds something nice that feels good, that really connects with what you're seeing on the screen, and it immerses you more into the experience. But it's not a deal breaker, of course, but it has everything, the capture button, the plus minus, and this one has a full-on D-pad, because, of course, for the multiplayer aspects, both of these controllers need to be symmetrical, so that's why they have the D-pad split into 4 directional buttons, so you have ABXY on this side as well, when you're playing in split controller mode, sharing the joy as they called it once. But this is just a more professional controller, lies very good in the hand, and yeah, I would really recommend it. I have had no issues with this at all. I do know some people who have a drifting stick on this one as well, and this one is a bit harder to fix because the drift from these sticks comes actually from inside. And with the Joy-Con you can put the contact spray under the rubber flap that's there, but these don't have that flap. These are just closed off, so I don't know how they get them drifting. I luckily haven't had it happen, knock on wood for that one. But yeah, it's good. I really like it. Yeah, but then what then? Then there are a lot of rumors started to arise about other Switch models. So of course you have the dock of the Switch, which is part of the Switch. That's the name, of course. Switching, you have the handheld mode, but you also have the docked mode. Just put it in like this, it slides in very easily, and then it connects to your TV or monitor or whatever you have set it up to, capture card maybe, and it will output the screen onto the TV in higher resolution. So how does that work? Actually, this dock doesn't do anything. It's just like a USB hub in the back, so you probably know it, but it's very dusty in here. You have the HDMI port is on the bottom, USB port, and the power port for the USB-C, the AC adapter. And more than that, it doesn't do. It doesn't add power to the Switch, it doesn't do any upscaling. The Switch has all the power it needs, but because the screen is off and it's plugged in, the system says like, okay, this won't produce as much heat, because when the screen is on it will produce more heat, of course. So now we can output the games at 1080p, I should say, not 180, that would be terrible, 1080p, and we'll play on a bit higher frame rate. But sometimes games lag more on docked mode than on handheld mode, but it's great that this is possible. That's of course the whole selling point. It's the Nintendo Switch. You can switch this play from handheld mode, tabletop mode, and of course docked mode. The two main modes are mostly handheld mode and docked mode. Tabletop mode is a bit iffy. So that's the whole brand identity of the Switch, is just switching it. But what happens when you make a new model, a cheaper model, related to only handheld mode? You get the Switch Lite. This is the Switch Lite. It's a quite a smaller console actually, and the whole thing about this is it's only handheld mode, so no switching, which is weird because it's still called the Switch, but hey, I get it. They wanted to make a cheaper model, and I must say, it's great. I really love this thing. The design, it's so clean. It's just one big piece of Nintendo. It reminds me of the old Game Boy Advance, not the SP one, but the regular one. It feels very good. With the other Switch, you always you can see the size difference here. By the way, the Switch Lite is significantly smaller. Of course, the bezels are smaller as well, so the screen is not that noticeably smaller, but it's still smaller. But here you always have the wiggle. You can see it literally on the camera now of the Joy-Con connected to the system. It will always leave some wiggle. Just feels a bit nasty. This thing feels clean, professional. It feels sturdy. It doesn't feel like it's gonna break in your hands. And it's just really portable to take with you, because it's so small. You can just plop it in your bag and start playing it. Now, I do have some gripes with it. I get that the idea is that you cannot dock this, but why is there no option for you to dock it later? I know it's like 100 euros cheaper than the regular Switch, but a dock costs around 100 euros. So why did they never bring out a dock specific to the Switch Lite that can make you dock this system? Because I play my Switch mostly in handheld mode, so this would have been a great solution for me. And I still played a lot of hours on this one. But sometimes you're just sitting on your desk next to your monitor and you don't want to play on this small screen. You want to have the Switch experience. I have a Pro Controller, so that's not the deal. Of course, you cannot slide these off. These are not Joy-Con like the other one. They don't have a button. They don't have... They're part of the console. But yeah, it's just sad. And another solution I could think of is like the Steam model. So you have your saves on the cloud. And then when you want to play docked, you're of course in a Wi-Fi area. So you could pull your save data from this to the cloud and then play on this one. But that's not possible. You can of course transfer your save data between consoles, but that just takes a long time. It's really slow compared to how Steam does it. So that's a bit of a bummer, but of course it's not advertised like that, so I cannot really blame the system for it. It's great. It has the same joysticks as the Switch, but even after a couple of hundred hours, I never had any problems with these. Of course, there are no connection issues because the controllers are directly connected to the system. I was afraid the joysticks might start drifting, and I know some people have that issue. But I know some other people that have a Switch Lite and they don't have drift issues as well. So maybe it's fixed somehow with these things or less common. Let me know if you have a Switch Lite. Have your joysticks ever drifted? Let me know. I'm very curious. But after this released, a lot of rumors started appearing about a Switch Pro or a Switch XL or whatever. And that kinda happened, but not exactly. Let me tell you. So this is not mine. This is from someone else, but I lent it. because I never made the upgrade, but this is the Switch OLED. And as you can see, they are kind of identical inside. They are identical. These are just the same Joy-Con. These are compatible with this, and these are compatible with this. The only difference is the screen. It's now an OLED screen, and it's bigger, in the same size. They managed to, you see these big black bezels on the side? They're gone. So it's a fully filled screen. It's still 720p, so the pixel per inch or per centimeter thing is a bit bigger, but the colors of it look way nicer. It's crazy how big of a difference it makes. It's 50 euros more expensive than the regular Switch, so that's a bit of a will you upgrade or not? I personally didn't upgrade. I really like the big screen, and for me, someone who plays in handheld mode a lot, it would be nice to have it. But yeah, it was just too expensive. I already have a Switch. This thing works fine. There's no performance upgrade. There's no resolution upgrade. It's just a better looking screen, a bigger screen. That's it. There are some other differences though, and that's for the tabletop mode, because of course you have this flimsy kickstand here on the bottom, and you only have one stand, and you can put it down, but it's very not durable. If you don't have a flat surface, it will topple over. So they fixed that with this one. And let me show you. So on the back, you see, firstly, it's a different material. It feels like kind of steel, but maybe it's still plastic, I don't know. We have this kickstand. And look, you can completely customize how you want. It's way bigger, so it has way more standing force. And it can just stand however you want. If you want this incline, perfect. If you want this incline, perfect. If you want this incline, possible. It's all possible with this kickstand. So this is way better. I hope the Switch 2, or whatever it will be called, probably Switch 2, will have this kind of kickstand as well. Of course, there's one issue. There's still only one charging port at the bottom. So when you're playing in tabletop mode, you cannot charge your system, which is a big oversight. And I believe a lot of leaks of the Switch 2 do have a second USB port in it. So I hope that will happen. But overall, this is an amazing system. If it came out earlier in the lifespan, or if this was a starting model together with the other Switch, I of course would have bought it. It has a bit of a higher battery life from what I've heard. My Switch only goes around 3 to 4 hours. The Switch Lite already goes for 7 to 8 hours, and I believe this one has the same battery as the Switch Lite. So think of that what you will. They also revamped the original Switch when this one released, to also have a better battery life, but no performance increases at all. With every Switch, it's just the same. So that's why I never decided to upgrade to this one. However, I would have loved it. But yeah, it was just not in my budget. It doesn't add enough to really warrant the upgrade. But of course, a system is only as good as its library. So what did I play on my Switch? Let's go through it. I have a very specific type of game I like. You can see I was playing a lot of Stardew Valley. At this moment, this is a reason why not as many videos are coming out. I am addicted. I've been playing Tears of the Kingdom a lot. It's great. This is just a time waster. And of course Zelda I play on the channel. But let's go to all my software. And it's sorted on playtime. Let's just go through it. So at the top, by far, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. What an amazing game. So I already owned Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U, and I held off from buying it on the Switch because I thought it's mostly the same. I never really play battle mode, so why do I want this? But I bought it anyway a year later because I had so much FOMO. The online of the Wii U version died out, and it's actually, there are more differences than you know. The driving is a bit different. You have the third drifting option. The physics are slightly tweaked, no more fire hopping, for example. Of course, the stats rebalancing, I really enjoyed this one. Also, the brake drifting for 200cc made that mode way more playable. So yeah, and it looks amazing. It's one of the best looking games on the console, and it's a Wii U game, so that says a lot. And but after Mario Kart, we come to Pokemon. You can see all of the Pokemon games are high in my list. Scarlet and Violet are, well, both here. But these are my main playthroughs, so Pokemon Shield is up there because with the DLC releasing and shiny hunting being a bit harder, yeah, I just spent more time with it, simply as that. Of course, there was a lot of controversy around this game, but I really don't think it's that warranted. Yeah, Game Freak cut some corners on the Switch era, so yeah, there's always some criticism warranted for these games, all of them. But the whole Dexit situation, I only use the Pokemon that are available in the game itself, so not being able to transfer my old ones wasn't really a big problem for me personally. But hey, everyone their own. I can completely understand it. Let's Go Pikachu Eevee. Fun game. It's a remake of Yellow Edition. But sadly you can only play it in the handheld mode with one Joy-Con, and then you have to use motion controls, and it sucks. Because the joysticks, they are not as responsive in that game. I don't know why. More Pokemon game. I played Minecraft, of course. It's an amazing game. I will have to play it on every console. Breath of the Wild is a big one. It's an amazing game. Everyone got it, I think. No, they definitely did not. But it was my first game on this console because it was a launch game, and I basically bought this system on launch. So that's really fun. It's the open world formula really is good. They refined it with the whole physics engine and stuff. I'm now playing through Tears of the Kingdom for the first time. Not the first time, but yeah, the first time. I played it and then got like two big things done, and then I wiped my save file, and now I'm playing it fully through this time. Mario Odyssey, also an amazing game. Back to the open formula of 64 and Sunshine. Really great, really had some amazing time with that. But when you beat it and you're done with all the moons, you don't really have a reason to play it again. But also some indie games like Stardew Valley. I discovered that on Switch. Always was interested in that one, but on the PC, yeah, how much time do you have? You only have so much time when you can spend on your PC. With the Switch, I just take it with me in the train to school, and it's amazing. Some other games, love the Splatoon, especially Splatoon 2. Splatoon 3, didn't really enjoy that one. It wasn't too different enough for me. Nintendo also did some Battle Royale type games with Tetris and F-Zero, and I really like these. I don't know, they just really click for me. I really like Tetris, I really like F-Zero, so that's great. You also had Mario 35, but sadly they decided to cancel that after like a couple of months, and I don't know why, because these two are amazing, and Mario 35 was also amazing, but they just decided, nope, we're out. And yeah, it's just a lot of cool library. I can talk about the library in more depth if we want. I just wanted to look at the console now, but see the battery of my laptop is almost dead, so I'm going to end the video here. Thank you so much for watching. Tell me in the comments about your Switch journey. Do you have one? What model do you have? Do you play it often? What type of mode do you play in most often? Is it handheld mode, docked, or tabletop? I don't expect that, but what are your favorite games? Just tell me all about it. I'm happy to hear it. Let's have a nice discussion about it. But I really like this console, and I'm also really looking forward to what Nintendo has to offer in the next generation of Switch. We will know about the new console, which will probably be the Switch 2, just be a slightly bigger, slightly better Switch. But then the Switch era will be over, and that's weird to think about. 8 years almost. I still remember waiting for it so long with the NX. The Wii U was slowly dying out. There weren't too many games coming out, and if the games came out, they were like Star Fox Zero, so but this is an amazing console. So thank you so much for watching. Leave your story in the comments, and I see you in the next one. Bye bye.